I'm a bad mood, gotta keep it tight. Hold my baby squid, keep him out of sight. Talking about my life, government, stay away. If you drive, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. I'm out to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome to my channel. Sorry I'm in the dark today. I have a little bit of a headache, probably because I'm dehydrated as hell. Just gotta put all the stuff back in my desk that the little decides to pull out of my desk every time she comes in here and sits. I'm just dehydrated. It's been a day. I got up and went to the gym this morning. It's just hotter than... Yeah, it's sweaty. And when you are like lifting weights and like my hands all tore up, like is bad. And I stayed for 2 classes because I'm stupid like that. First one was barbell work. It was like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deadlifts, cleans, front squats, shoulder to overhead. So my arms are, it's not caffeine, it's body armor. Cherry berry lemonade, not a good flavor if it's not cold. I tried it just to, because it sounded good. If it's cold, it's fine. If it's not cold, it's kind of awful. However, I need hydration right now. So it's, yeah. And hey, Flash fan. And Jeffrey, I'd want solar panels if I was there just for running the AC all day. Yeah, our AC is set at 75. 75 seems like it's warm. Go outside for a couple minutes, come back in, and 75 is like nice and perfect. It's yeah. And hey, 3 awesome dogs, how are you? Are you getting closer to 1,000? Last time I checked, you were like 49 or 48 away. If you have not subscribed to 3 awesome dogs, what are you doing with your life? The name says it all. The dogs are awesome. Get a taste of country life in the north. And hey, heroes, Chris, how are you? And I did get your email. I did. Life took over. I read it and then life took over. And then I forgot. Because, I just, if anybody ever emails me and I don't email you back, please don't think I'm ignoring you. 3D life got in the way. And then knowing me, I just forgot. It's like sending a text, saying you're going to text somebody later, writing half of the text message, and then wondering why that person never texts you back. It's like, wait, because you never actually sent the message that you were trying to send them. That's how, yeah. Hey, you feel better? I was going through allergy last night. I kind of had trouble breathing last night. I had to take a nebulizer. Ugh. And Rainbow Pickle, how are you? Oh, yeah, but I was distracted because somebody stole my phone, so I have to watch it again. Oh, Squid will only ignore you if your name is Bruce. That's not true because there are a couple of Bruces in here, but they specifically say not that one, if you know what I mean. Hey, Timothy got to listen again today because I'm driving. We'll have a safe drive. All right, so we are going to start with, this is the case that Flash fan had sent me, and his first words to me, and hey, Kathy, how are you? His first words to me were, I know you don't cover cases in Georgia, but this is kind of what my if you followed me through most of my court stuff and trial watching, this is what my channel is becoming known for as far as trial streaming, is parent or kids who are accused of unaliving their parents. What our problem is in this country, and this girl is considered innocent until proven guilty. Just saying that this is all allegedly right now. We are going to watch a couple of videos from Law and Crime. This is a Georgia case. This happened back in February, but the arrest just happened recently. And that's why it's making headlines now. We're going to watch a couple of videos, and then we are going to go through the documents real quick. I did get on Peach Court, but none of the cases in Georgia, you have to pay for documents. None of the documents are actually worth paying for right now. So they're only one page, but I will tell you what she's being accused of. We'll read a short article on it, and then excuse me. And then we will get into these videos. Let's see. And then, so the good thing about this stream is I don't have to talk a lot. So this is what we will cover first. All right. Georgia teen charged with mother and stepfather. And it's always mother and stepfather. Carly Gregg, mother, stepfather. Nikita Castep, mother, stepfather. I believe that Mia Bailey was the only one that I know of that is actually mother and father. But it's mother and stepfather. It's interesting that happened. And hey, Janet, and hey, Musi, how are you? Monday Malice. Mind if I steal that? Yeah. So where this is Carrollton, Georgia. And when they say it's south of Atlanta, in one of the Law and Crime videos, they say it's south of Atlanta. It is not south. Well, it is. But if you look at it's more west of Atlanta than south. So here's Atlanta. Carrollton. So here's Atlanta. Carrollton is here. So somebody that comes into this chat all the time doesn't live too far from here. I don't remember who it is. Yeah. Is it south of Atlanta like Disneyland is south of Atlanta? No, well, technically Disneyland is in California. Disney World is south of Atlanta. But you can see it's more west of Atlanta. Like, it's a little south, but it's west. It's west of Atlanta. Like, west, south. Like, you know. So if I were to say south of Atlanta, I would be like this area, like Peachtree City or Fayetteville. That's south of Atlanta. Even Noonan would be south of Atlanta. Carrollton is more west, but that's beside the point. It's whoever wrote this didn't look at a damn map or has a different version of geography than I do. All right. So we are going to get into the background on it, and then we are going to watch those videos. Georgia teen has turned herself in for the unaliving of her mother and stepfather. On Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, Carroll County Sheriff's Office announced in a press conference that 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick had been charged in connection with the February 2025 deaths of her mother, Kristen Brock, and stepfather, James Brock. She is facing 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. The murders shocked those who live in Tyus, a small town just outside of Carrollton, Georgia, and sparked an investigation that involved the FBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Crime Lab, and private forensic laboratories per the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. While investigators have concluded that Patrick's responsible for the killings, a motive remains unclear. We don't know what goes through the mind of a child who wants to harm their parents, said Ashley Hulsey, a spokesperson for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. The case remains active and ongoing, and investigators ask anyone with information to come forward. What happened? February 20th, Carroll County Sheriff's Office responded to a 911 call in which Patrick reported that her 5-year-old sister had found James and Kristen Brock shot to death in their beds. There were no apparent signs of a break-in, though a door was left ajar, according to Fox 5 News. In the wake of the killings, Kristen Brock's father, Dennis Nolan, told 11 Alive that the family was dumbfounded as to why the couple, known for being active churchgoers, would be murdered. If there was something they wanted in the house, they could have taken it, and they probably wouldn't have woken up, but for some reason, they wanted them dead. I want to know why, he said. And then they say they have mountains of evidence. Halsey declined to share specifics about the investigation, but stated there are mountains of evidence that indicate Patrick is responsible for the killings. We feel confident that she is responsible for their murders, but like I said, it is an active and ongoing investigation, and it's very possible that others are involved as well. It's also very possible that she's not. And this one, I'm really torn on what I think of this case. Usually I'm like, oh yeah, that kid did it, or no, that kid didn't. Like, Carly Gregg was pretty damn obvious that she did it because you heard it on camera. Sarah Boone, pretty damn obvious that she did it because she recorded it. Like Nikita Kassap, pretty sure that he did it based on the evidence that's been shared. This, I got nothing. Nothing's been shared. Everybody's being tight-lipped. It's so weird. Yeah, this is rural Georgia. Pretty much anything in Georgia outside of cities. And like once you get maybe like a little bit outside of the city, it's small towns. So yeah, you're Flash fan. You're getting ahead of us. Flash fan. Whenever there's a case that I'm covering, generally it came from Flash fan, and he is my subject matter expert. Because, I always talk to people who are smarter than me. And he's one of those people who is smarter than me. And, you always surround yourself by people who are smarter than you. Because not only does it make you smarter, but when you don't know the answer to something, you know somebody who probably does. But you're just getting ahead of us a little bit. Hello, Wednesday's life experience memories. How are you this afternoon? All right. As for what led to Patrick's arrest, Halsey said that investigators notified the teen that they had a warrant out for her arrest. Shortly after which the 17-year-old, accompanied by her father, went to the station and turned herself in. She didn't turn herself in because she said, "I'm guilty, I did it," and confessed. She turned herself in because she knew there was a warrant out for her arrest and she didn't run. Like some other people we've heard about who is on the run. She is not. Hey, Hellfire, how are you? That's quite the picture you got there. I hadn't heard anything about this case either. This one you definitely have to thank Flash Fan for, because Flash Fan is on top of it. But for some reason, my court coverage seems to be either why the mainstream media sucks and they're getting sued, which I do have to look into the documents in Florida about U.S. News and World Report's getting sued by the same person who, the U.S. Navy vet who won the suit against, or court case, not just the suit. He won a jury verdict against CNN back in January. So we do have to go through documents on that case. That's just a lot, but it is Florida, so the documents are free. I just have to actually sit and read through them because there's a lot. And I'm not going to give you stuff that is not important, especially on stuff like that. I'm not going to read through an entire document that's not going to be pertinent to you. It's not like the Hales case, where every document seems to matter to a lot of people and they want to know what every document says. And because Pacer you have to pay for, people want every document. They want to know what's in it because they can't easily find it themselves. So I'm good. First time commenter here. Well, welcome. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. I tried to give Squid an Ohio dad case, but that's a tough case for everyone. Yeah, the Ohio dad case is a triggering case. The Ohio dad case, long story short, is a dad that is accused of damn near decapitating his daughter. And I just, for some reason, that one just is a little bit, I just can't get myself to be okay with covering that one. Like, I've tried to, I made a thumbnail for it. I'm like, we're going to do this. And then like, I just can't. However, looking ahead, Flash Fan and I are possibly going to collaborate on looking deeper into the Stephen Avery case. If you've ever watched the documentary Making a Murderer, we are going to possibly look into that a little deeper. He has a lot of information that he sent me that I have to go through. That one is kind of close to home, not where I live now, but it's Manitowoc, Wisconsin is an hour from where I used to live. A girl I worked with, the girl who I live rent-free in her head, even though I haven't worked at the hospital in 5 years, her husband was roommates with Teresa Halbach's brother. So I know people who have a personal connection to that case. So yeah, and then there's the honor killing case. This weekend I'm probably going to do an update on like little things going around the country, because there's the honor killing case in Washington that's another one where I'm like, oh yeah, Flash Chat, I forgot to tell you that. And Unhung Hero, thank you for the 10 gifted Squid Pro Quo memberships. I appreciate you as always. And give me 1 second. The little is in the other room and yelling at me. Yeah, it's that 6 degrees of separation. All right, getting back to this one. So she turned herself in because she knew there was a warrant for her arrest. She did not run. I have thoughts about this one, and I really don't know. I can't come up with a thing. Usually in some of these cases, I'm like, oh, that evidence is overwhelming. I really see how defense is how they're gonna handle that. This one, I can't figure out how they're gonna do this. So it should be interesting. The documents so far in Peach Court, and when I say Georgia documents sometimes aren't worth paying for, crazy crap does happen in this my internet, and that might be why she's mad at me, as her internet went out. I should be back though. Like, hey John. Oh no, there we go. Hey John Cook, thank Unhung Hero for your membership. We're not entirely sure if that's we're not entirely sure if that's the real John Cook. I have 2 people, both of whom I trust. One says it is, one says it isn't. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure. All right, so this is what we have so far in Peach Court, and I'm sorry if it's blurry. It's kind of welcome to. Well, I think because she... Come here, baby. What do you need? You want... Is your pad broken? Come here. I will be right back, guys. Peach Court is the online Georgia-wide. It's almost like the Pacer for Georgia. You can look up any cases in the entire state. So, you know, the real JC is purple and checked. I know. Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. I will be right back. She is wanting something, I'm assuming a snack, and she didn't know where I was because I didn't have the light on. So I will be right back. Y'all grab a snack, and I'm sorry for the interruption, but you know, mom life comes first, YouTuber second, and I love that you guys understand that.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay on forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts run.
Hey guys, thanks for your patience. I really couldn't tell you what her deal is right now, besides the fact that she needs a nap and she's not going to take one because she's 2. That's all I can say. She wanted to run the vacuum cleaner, and then when I started it, she started crying. The robot vacuum cleaner cleans itself, and she wanted. Angel, what's up, baby? Go sit over there then. You can sit wherever you want, baby. The vacuum cleaner stopped, and she's gonna get mad. Oh my goodness, toddler life. The terrible 2s have turned into the torturous 3s. She went and hit the clean button on the vacuum cleaner because she heard it dock itself and she got mad. So she runs out there. She runs out there, yells at it, yells at me. And it's like, girl, you know how to start it. You don't have to. Oh, yeah. I bet she's not sure what she wants, but I bet it's not a giant ball of cheese. She wants to run the robot vacuum cleaner. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Some days. What are you gonna do? You know. And then she puts her like dolls on it and like lets them ride around on the vacuum cleaner. All right, so her attorneys are Arnold Ragus and LaToya Williams, both out of Atlanta. She's being charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault. And the only documents that are available to view are notice of appearance and discovery opt-in and the motion for bond, but they're only 1 page. And I do have, and if you click on them here, all you get is this little thing, and it's $3 for 1 page or 2 pages. And I'm like, not even Pacer is that expensive. And no, those aren't public defenders, I don't think. I don't think those are public defenders. But I could be wrong. But those don't seem like public defenders. I am not paying $3 for 2 pages. So we'll go over to Carroll County Docket's website. And then this is the motion for bond. You have to pay for this too, otherwise you get the watermarks in the background. But since I'm not paying for it, yeah, like it's one thing to have my little grift and ask for Pacer money because Pacer is 10 cents a page. I can see paying 10 cents a page, but but I'm not paying $1.50 a page. Like we're that's like that's champagne money, and I'm on like a beer. I'm like a Natty Light budget here. So comes out of defendant Sarah Grace Patrick, herein by through undersigned attorney and office of record, and hereby files his application for bond showing the following to wit. The defendant is currently incarcerated in Carroll County Detention Facility in the above styled case. The defendant asserts her presumption of innocence and further states she will not improperly leave the jurisdiction of this court or fail to appear when required. She is not a threat or a danger to any person or property in the community and poses no significant risk to reoffend or intimidate witnesses or justice. Yeah, where did an unhung hero go? Accordingly, defendant requests that a hearing on this motion be held on the next regularly scheduled calendar for bond hearings, following the undersigned date, that the bond be set in a reasonable amount. Lawyers, I understand that things have to be written in a certain way, and the way things are written goes back in history. But y'all know that there is much easier ways to write things. Maybe it's just the fact that I worked in a hospital and I have medical writing. You wrote who, what, where, when, why, and you wrote it as fast as possible. You didn't write 3 paragraphs for something that can be said in 3 sentences. That is what my brain cannot wrap my head around, the difference between medical writing and legal writing. Yeah, Georgia paper is made of gold. Yeah. Talk about the just asking a lot. But then they have this. So it's like if I wanted to save this, I'd have to pay for it. But I'm just viewing the image so we can not pay for it. The undersigned hereby verifies that I have this date served at District Attorney's Office, Coweta Judicial District, with the foregoing motion for bond by handing him a copy of the same. And this was filed 11 July of 2025. So this is relatively new. And based on the fact that Law and Crime has not one, not two, but 3 different videos about this same case already, this might be streamed. I'm just saying, like, it's simple. Lawyers have to write things. There is no way to intentionally or unintentionally misunderstand the documents. I get that. However, there is just certain ways to write things that are understood easier than the way they write it. And this is not just this woman. This is nationwide in a lot of documents that I read. I'm like, you couldn't have written that like in an easier to understand, more to the point, like this last, and this is just me being like picky. Like, I'm not a lawyer. This is just me being like, that's why they define what a piece of string is. Yeah, I know. And but I think more people would be interested in the law and more people would be knowledgeable about the law, because last night, if you followed my stream last night, all we were doing was reading documents, and we had that one troll come in here and try to like say a whole bunch of stuff about Trump, and she was like, the liability for this. And yeah, there's a difference between liability in a civil case and guilty in a criminal case. Tell me you know nothing about the law without telling me. However, I think more people, the layperson, would be a little bit more knowledgeable if it wasn't so damn hard to understand the way they write. I'm just, Oh, it was, we were talking about the declassified Department of National Intelligence documents last night, or Director of National Intelligence docs. And like, she was in here saying like, Trump is this, like, we weren't talking about like, that was topic. We were literally reading so we could tell the difference between what was in the media and what's actually in the documents. Because as we know, there's always a difference. And this is a decade old that people have been in the headlines saying this. Well, let's see what the actual documents say, so we can either prove the headlines correct, or we can say, yes, for once and for all, the headlines were actually lying to us and completely full of crap. And she didn't want to stay on topic, so I booted her for 24 hours. So, like, try court papers from Poland. I have those. No, thank you. No. My family, part of my family immigrated here from Czechoslovakia in the 1920s or 19 teens. And no. Yeah, I wasn't making it political and she was. I was just reading declassified docs because I hate the government and I like transparency. So when things become declassified that were headline news for 10 years, I want to read. I want to read what the docs say so we can say, yes, it's once and for all. Hi. Yeah. Did you start it? Yeah. You did? Okay, go get it. It was just one. Everybody else was staying on topic. I didn't understand one word of that. No. That was some toddler stuff right there. All right. So we will get into these videos. And I might have to reshare and you need a good avatar. I have a good avatar. Look at that. I have my my pearl clutching Muppet. But this is the girl in question. I have the speed at 1.1, and I will be stopping it a little bit. But compare this with her mugshot. So Her mugshot, she has no eyebrows. None whatsoever. Oh, Mama Squid. Yeah, you do. No, not you, your mom. Okay. All right.
Girl allegedly killed her parents in a case that had gone unsolved for months. That is until this week. Her parents were found shot dead inside their home in February. Their 6-year-old daughter found them. But you will not believe the next part. We sure couldn't. The alleged teen killer spoke at the funeral for her parents at their church.
Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people.
And then let's talk about the TikTok account that we found. Just wait until I show you what she said about her family and this.
I'm sorry. I can tell you already, anybody who cries on camera, like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm an ugly crier. Y'all have seen the 2 or 3 times that I've like let some tears fall on camera. It is not pretty. I am snotty. I am crazy eye makeup. Like, anybody who films themselves crying on purpose, I got questions about. I got questions. And see, and here's my, like, Hellfire, I don't know like who you are as far as male, female, and relative age, but I, being almost 40 years old, I don't understand the whole TikTok generation and putting everything and every single emotion I've ever had in my life on TikTok and Facebook and every social media. So maybe it's a generational thing where they feel the need to put every damn aspect of their lives on social media. But like crying, like, I'm not gonna cry and then film myself crying, because how many takes did she do to get this right? I'm just, I don't know.
Case on social media. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. I will tell you, this story made our jaws drop when police.
And see, and there's a thing too. Like, this is where it's like, truly asking for help and you don't know who did it and you're truly crying and you're just a teenager who is putting her life on social media because that's what teenagers do. And I don't understand, because I'm like, I turned 40 at the end of summer. Like, I this is just not my thing. Or is it calculated and she did it on purpose to make herself look innocent? I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know. I would love, this is one of the reasons that I really want to follow this case, because they haven't released any evidence, and that is not normal. There's at least some sort of evidence. They tell you something. She was having problems with her parents. She was this, she was that. You have mountains of evidence. What are you not telling us?
In Georgia this week announced they had made an arrest in the case of a murdered couple that had gone unsolved since February. Here's a picture of that couple, James and Kristen Brock. They lived in Carrollton, Georgia. It's a little more than an hour's drive south of Atlanta. This couple, they were beloved members of their community, devoted church.
See, he said south. But it's west. But thank you, genius. Look at a map. Whoever wrote this for him needs to... Squid's thing was probably MySpace. Yes, it was. Thank you, Flash Fan, for telling me how old I am. I am a millennial who does not identify with millennials. I want to be claimed by Gen X. I am that lost group of millennials that Gen X doesn't claim us, but neither do millennials. We are that lost group of like 3 to 4 years, like 83 to 86, where we don't fit in with anybody. Yeah, so it's southwest. It's more west than south, but to just say it's south of Atlanta does not give an accurate picture. Like,
churchgoers, and they also had a 6-year-old daughter together. In fact, James posted this on Facebook on February 19th, saying, quote, "When I'm down and don't feel good, I find comfort in this little girl."
Thank you.
Police say he was murdered within the next 24 hours of that post. Reportedly, it was that little girl, who was 5 at the time, who found him and her mom, Kristen, after they had been shot. It was on February 20th that law enforcement responded to this home in Carrollton and found the Brocks shot. They were both in their bed. This case went unsolved for months. Kristen's dad, in the days after the murders, offered $5,000 for information that would...
See, and this is where I would say west-southwest. Like west/southwest. And Mama even took that and MTV away from her. Yeah, but I still watched it. You did it, but not very well. So
lead police to the killer. He told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that these murders, whoever did them, quote, was cold-blooded. This week, police announced that they know who the killer is, and it was someone he knew very well.
Today, we can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristen Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault.
Here's the mugshot of the alleged killer.
no eyebrows. How much makeup was she wearing? Look at that. Like, no eyebrows. No eyebrows. Sorry, it's just one thing I look at. No eyebrows. Like, the blonde of all blonde. And then, like, no eyebrows. And I know somebody commented on my 90s brows the other day. When I don't do my brows, I have 90s brows because they're thin. Well, guess what? Sorry, when I was back in the day when I was boxing and doing MMA and shit like that, a girl elbowed me in the eye and split my eye open, and now my eyebrow won't grow. So, you know. There we go. So one of my eyebrows will not grow. So I have to, in order to not look completely awkward, keep them both looking relatively the same. So I have 90s brows.
Sarah Grace Patrick. Her mugshot was given to us by the Carroll County Sheriff. Sarah Grace was 16 years old at the time that she allegedly shot and killed her mom and stepdad. And she was very active on social media. And it is shocking what I'm about to show you. Here are pictures that we found on her social media with her boyfriend. And wow, when I talk about social media, that is a shocking part of this story. I'll get more to that in just a moment. Here's what we know about Sarah Grace. According to law enforcement, she lived in the home at the time of the murders, but had moved around with different family members within the last couple of years. But on the night of the Brock's murders, she was the one who called 911. I actually saw someone comment on social media that it was suspicious after gunshots went off in the house that it was the 5-year-old who would find their parents dead and then reportedly have to alert the teenager inside the home that something was wrong. Sarah Grace was.
And that's what I can't get over. Like, if you were in the house, your little sister found them. Like, that poor, like, whether you, not advocating for violence at all. Like, never the answer. Like, permanent solutions to temporary problems, I cannot, no. However, you made a decision to do something, that's on you, but to put it on your little sister and to scar your 5-year-old sister for life, if this is truly what the police says has happened, and everybody, we always, the police are not your friend, even my friends who are police, like, you put this on a 5-year-old to find their parents not alive. That poor child.
16 years old at the time that law enforcement say she killed her mom and stepdad. She's now 17. In cases like this, typically we search through TruthFinder to see if the suspect has any previous charges.
Yeah, we're going to skip their ad because...
Stories, but in subscription service, you get access to a code on your screen or use the link below. Here's what law enforcement said when they were asked about an alleged... I'm
not going to lie. I use TruthFinder, but they don't sponsor me, so I'm not giving them any more airtime. If you want Law and Crimes code for TruthFinder, you can go get it yourself.
motive
We are still working with her diligently. Our investigators have been speaking with her.
It is correct that she was the one who made the 911 call, correct?
Yes.
At what point did investigators begin to focus on her as the suspect?
So I believe in the beginning of any case, everyone's a suspect. I think I told many of you that when we were on scene that day. However, as an investigation continues and everything ebbs and flows, like I said in my press release, mountains of evidence has gotten us through here today. Lots of processing, lots of working with our law enforcement partners to get us to where we are today that honed in.
This is that that spokesperson for the sheriff's department. She's not the sheriff. This is that Ashley Halsey, I think her last name is. Yeah, the crime actually occurred in February, around the same time as Nikita Kassab in Wisconsin. Go figure that one out. But she was just arrested in the second week of July. So about 10 days ago.
On her as a suspect.
As police are still searching for a reason Sarah Grace would allegedly do this, it's important to note that Sarah was public about the loss of her parents. She even spoke at their funeral. Look at this video per WSB TV.
Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people.
We were shocked with what we saw specifically on her TikTok. She presented herself as a victim, a young girl who lost her parents to senseless violence. But again,
Hey, expert, how are you? Squigger and y'all hit the like and keep me company. If I'm or running over my foot, blame y'all. please don't injure yourself. Like, please. And I hope you are doing well and your whole family and 3D World is doing as well as they can be. But like this girl, like I could never, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just old. I could never film myself crying. I can't get over that. And that's what I can't understand, if it's calculated or if teenagers really just do this shit now. I just can't. And that's the what makes a child do what? Unalive their parents or film themselves crying. Neither one of which I understand. But being a parent now, I would really like to know what causes this so I don't do it. Just, food for thought for the future. Yeah, briefly, but never intentionally filming myself. Things happen where someone says something, like the whole mother-in-law situation kind of got me up in my feels that one day. And especially now that my sister-in-law is pregnant, we're really kind of up in our feels about that situation. But like, I would never just cry and then film myself crying just for the sake of filming myself. I don't understand that mentality. And I don't know if it's just because I'm old and that's what teenagers do now and I'm just proving how old I am, or if it's calculated. And this is where my brain is, I'm going back and forth, and I actually want to look in my book to look at a few things because I'm curious. I have a couple textbooks that I want to look at, but it just amazes me. Oh, to parents. Yeah, I would really like to know that, because my daughter is kind of sweet right now, but like, I don't ever want to be in a situation where she decides that she wants to unalive me. That's not something I want to happen. So it's part of what makes this so fascinating to me, is I don't ever want to, and hey, Calvin, I don't ever want to do this.
as you watch these, law enforcement say she's the one who did it. Look at this post. This is from March 1st, just weeks after she allegedly killed her mom and stepdad in their sleep. She posts a tribute video to them with the caption, quote, "They don't know it, but a year from now, me and my 5-year-old sister would find them wrongfully shot dead in our home and won't get to watch me graduate high school, see me walk down the aisle, and couldn't even say goodbye." Here's a video of her crying. This was posted on March 18th, less than a month after she allegedly killed her parents, with the caption, quote, "Please send prayers for healing and a break from everything. I'm so tired. I should probably delete later." And here's a picture from a TikTok on Mother's Day this year in May with Kristen, who she allegedly murdered, with the caption, "But my ultimate inspiration comes from my best friend." And here she is crying, heading to the funeral of the two people she allegedly killed. She also has this picture that reads, "What do you mean I can't call my mom?" And then there's this one that says, quote, "Why me?" Now, these are incredibly sad, but then you have to remember that law enforcement says they have a mountain of evidence that shows she is the one who did this. At the
I'm also wondering if they haven't shown the mountain of evidence because they have somebody else in mind. Come here. So, toddler life. Are you stuck? You're stuck. You have my expensive sunglasses and you're stuck. She put herself in this and couldn't get out of it. But those are my fishing sunglasses, girl. Don't break my fishing sunglasses. Not like I fish, because I haven't been fishing since you were born. So, you know. Okay, mommy. Oh, good Lord. Oh, and the attitude begins. But with her, like, I just can't see putting all this on social media. Like, why? Why? There is a time when you just don't say anything. Like, you just stop talking. And if she did do this is unbelievably cold and calculated.
Same time, she also appears to have continued to live her life beyond the alleged cover-up that she killed two people. Just a week ago, she posted this video from a beach. In their news conference, law enforcement said that Sarah Grace turned herself in after she was told that she was going to be charged with the murders of the Brocks. Her biological father, law enforcement say, drove her to the station. The sheriff's office also said there was a, quote, mountain of evidence that ties her to these murders, but they wouldn't go deeper into that at this point. As for the little girl, the Brock's daughter.
Okay, and there's my petty side. Joe, thank you for being my petty queen sister today. What the hell? She doesn't use waterproof mascara? Yeah, who in 2025 doesn't use waterproof mascara, especially if you're going to film yourself crying? Just saying. Or was that for dramatic effect? And I've never seen anybody, even when they are crying, their mascara run like that. Like, that's like Hollywood mascara running. That's not real life crying mascara running. That's fake as it's fake as a $3 bill.
The half sister of their alleged killer, the now 6-year-old girl who allegedly found her parents dead in their bed. Law enforcement says she is now living with family members. Joining us now to talk about this case is retired crime scene investigator Alina Burrows. Thank you for joining us on Law and Crime. There's a lot to unpack here. It was shocking to hear that a 17-year-old, she was 16 at the time, would allegedly kill her mom and stepdad, and then to see the social media. So there's a lot of places we could start. I guess for you, when you look at this suspect, Sarah Grace Patrick, what stands out to you?
Obviously it's, as you say, it's a shocking case because we don't have a lot of parenticide cases, right? We don't have a lot of those, especially with a female suspect. So there's some different kind of unique aspects of this particular case. Am I shocked by the behavior afterwards? Not really. I've seen this behavior before. I think people are kind of familiar with Casey Anthony, who was, obviously ultimately found to be not guilty, but her behavior after the crime shows maybe a disassociation. Maybe there's some attempt to detach from that aspect and just continue on living life. That's not something that we haven't seen before, so it doesn't really surprise me.
I've seen in some cases where you have a suspect and police.
Heroes Chris, thanks for being a member for 1 month. Thanks for accepting me anytime. Like, I don't judge people. Like I said, what y'all do when you're not here is none of my business. As long as you're respectful here and you just don't straight up talk shit about me, y'all y'all always welcome here. Like, there's only 3 people that are ever blocked from this. And even the person that I timed out for 24 hours, she's even welcome back. I don't, like, as long as people are respectful, y'all are always welcome here. This is a place where you're not always going to hear things that you agree with. But as long as we can have a healthy conversation and explain to each other why we disagree, it's okay.
Law enforcement in Carroll County didn't go too deep into specifically what they have, but they just said it's a mountain of evidence. And you're a crime scene investigator, and I'm sure you've had cases where someone tries to cover it up and might play it off as, oh my gosh, this all happened. What are some of the first things you're looking for if you were the person who entered this house as an investigator that can start to piece together a picture of what happened?
Sure. And they don't know in the beginning that this could potentially be a domestic homicide, but domestic homicides can be challenging because when you look at a suspect and a victim that maintain the same residence, the normal things that investigators find may not have that same relevance. So her fingerprints would be expected to be in the home of her parents. Her, shoe tracks or footprints, all of those things, DNA, those are all to be expected to be in a home where she would either live or visit. So unless they're in a particularly specific location, right? Unless we had, fingerprints on a murder weapon, or unless we had her fingerprints in the victim's blood, something that would place her there at that particular time. And even still, if she found the victims and made the 911 call, you could also explain away some of those things. So it becomes challenging in cases like that. It's not so much what you have as much as what you don't have. And in this particular case, we don't see signs of forced entry. We don't see signs that anything was taken or missing. So that kind of typical, maybe there's a third party intruder that's attempted a burglary or a robbery. Our victims are still in bed. So that tells us that they weren't confronting somebody in their home. They were killed when they were at their most vulnerable state, sleeping.
And there was a comment that I saw that I thought was interesting, because it was reported that the then 5-year-old who was in the house, that she was the one who found the parents and then alerted her teenage sister, who then calls 911. It just seemed bizarre.
Ong Hero, thanks for the $20 super chat. This is a biological her. This is not a Mia Bailey who was Colin Bailey and legally changed their name, but is still a biological male. This is, and we have to figure out updates on that case. For those of you who don't know, Mia Bailey legally changed their name to Mia, so that's why I call them Mia, is a transgender woman in Utah who is accused of unaliving both of their parents and attempting to unalive their brother and sister-in-law in Utah. And I don't know what it's none of my business what anybody thinks about that particular kind of situation. I don't care. It's none of my business. But in Utah, that is a very religious type area. And I can only imagine that is one of the motives for that. Yeah, this is 17-year-old girl, 16 at the time, but girl. So,
or that it would be the 5-year-old that would hear the gunshot, go into the room, and then I have a one that's almost 4, and it just seemed like a lot of steps for someone who's 5 to go through to then alert the teenager, and the teenager in this, it wasn't a mansion where this happened, wouldn't have heard these gunshots.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Something else that we want to consider too is, where is the firearm? Was this a firearm that was kept in the household? And if so, who knew where it was? Was it in a safe that required a knowledge of a passcode of some kind? Or was this a firearm that was brought into the home?
It looks
so
like
if it had already existed in the home, then who would know where it was kept and have access to it? And if it was brought from outside, then that indicates premeditation in this case.
I go to these social media posts, and it's just, I think it's shocking for a lot of people. I mean, we were not sure if it was hers, because it was just so outrageous to think that this is the way that she would have played this. And it's, of course, all alleged at this point. There's a lot of information that we don't know, but then law enforcement confirmed to us that is actually her her TikTok account. And I know we talked about Casey Anthony, and it's something that doesn't surprise you as much, but what information typically can you get when you look at some of these TikToks that could be used in a case going forward?
Well, I know that investigators, speaking of digital evidence on the whole first, investigators are going to be looking at that for a couple of reasons. One is, where her digital footprint was at the time of the crime, if she is home sleeping or if she's somewhere else. Obviously, she's home during these times, so the phone is going to confirm that. But more importantly than that, they're going to be looking at any kind of text message or messaging communications and social media to look for co-conspirators. So when we have young suspects or young offenders, it would not be uncommon that they've discussed this. We don't know the relationship she had with her parents. So that's kind of a big question mark. We don't know if there was any sort of mitigating circumstance, abuse, neglect, something like that. We don't know any of that. So they're going to be looking at text messages to see if there are potentially co-conspirators in this case, somebody that could have helped or at least talked through this with her. Separate from that, just looking at her TikTok or her social media that afterwards doesn't reveal somebody that seems to be grieving. I caution of two things. One is I try not to judge how people grieve because everybody grieves different. It's different based on your age. It's different based on your culture. But
everybody grieves different. However, one thing I learned from a class that I took in college called Death and Dying. Yes, there is actually a class called Death and Dying. There is 5 stages of grief that everybody goes through. And like, she's missing a few. She is missing them all. Like, she's missing them. And like, that's one thing's like, you don't judge how people grieve, but people tend to grieve the same pattern. They go through the 5 stages of death and of grieving. And you tend to see the same patterns in people. Human behavior is predictable. The brain is predictable. So when you see things that are out of order, it just does not look right. It's like, it just doesn't. And it's Sarah something, stages of death and dying. I just cannot remember the actual person's name. I'll have to Google it. But yeah, I had to go to therapy because I got immune to death. Yeah, I have problems showing emotion to some people, because if I showed emotion to every situation that was difficult, I would have never made it through my day. Like, you just get numb to certain things. But she's 17. She was 16 at the time. Like, she should not have that level of experience to be able to have the life experience to become numb. So when people don't go through those 5 stages in order, yes, various people spend longer times in each period, but those 5 stages are all generally the same order. So when people don't go through those stages in order, my brain goes to, they're either lying and they don't know they don't know how to fake it correctly. Or there's some disorder that people need to be, an eval needs to take place. One of the two. And if you eval her and there's no signs of a DSM-5 diagnosis, there's a good chance she's lying. Yeah. I can only remember 3. It's been a long time since I had that class. It was 2012 when I had that class. 2013. One of the two. So it's been a while for me too. Probably not as long as it has been for you, but it's been quite a while. And hey, Gail, how are you?
I think people expect a certain type of behavior. And keep in mind that she is very young. And I remember having a conversation with a member of Casey Anthony's defense team that said her brain is not fully developed to handle some of these things. And I think that's something that we're going to see coming out of her defense in the future.
Yeah, and that's a fascinating part of it, because I know it's, and you would know better than I, that it's typically someone in their mid-20s, right, where your brain has fully developed. She's being charged as an adult, but at the same time is 17 years old. What are some of the pieces of evidence that can be used in an interrogation where it was unclear whether she's admitted to it? She turned herself in when she was told she had warrants for her arrest, but as you're gathering information to then lead to the point where someone is going to be interrogating her and trying to get more information, what are you looking for?
Well, a couple of the things that I mentioned. One is, everybody wants to know motive, right? We don't have to have motive in a court case, but human beings want to understand. So I think they're going to be definitely looking at the relationship that she had, especially given that this was a step parent and a biological parent. Looking at that relationship, was there anything out of the norm? They're going to be looking at her. We don't know we don't know her mental health. We don't know a history of substance abuse. We don't know all of these things that could come into play. So they're going to be looking at that, certainly. And again, social media, I think messaging and text messaging to determine if this was being planned, if it was premeditated, if there was somebody else that was talking her into this. All of those things are going to come into play, as well as whatever physical evidence, right? So I don't know the physical evidence that they have at this time, but just looking at the picture, when we see victims that are in bed, we know that they are at their most vulnerable state. So that's not somebody that was, we ruled out self-defense. There is no self-defense because they were in bed. We ruled out third party coming in, burglarizing the house, something that has alerted them, they've awakened, there's no fighting, they're in bed. So all of those things kind of are clues that piece together who could have potentially done this. And then we're going to start looking at what links together that crime scene with that offender.
This happened in February 20th. And just yesterday, as we're recording this, is when it was announced that Sarah Grace Patrick would be charged with the murders of her mom and stepdad. What do you make of the time from when it happened to now there being an arrest?
Well, it tells me law enforcement.
And I will be right back, guys. The little is yelling for my attention. She's not crying. She's just saying mom over and over again. So this right here, I'm tired of the brain ain't fully developed crap. It was true. He'd still be governed by England. Yes, I mean, there is a point, but at the same time, like, there's a point right from wrong. So look at the runs. They're too straight. Yeah, they are. There's no wiping. And I'm sorry, I don't know anybody who cries and doesn't wipe their eyes or have a tissue and blot. So this looks staged to me. It's fake as hell. But that's just my personal opinion. So I'm going to let this play. I'm going to speed it up a little bit just to make sure I don't get struck. We're going to put the good old overlay on it. Come on. Do. There we go. Hi there. And I will be right back, guys.
Has to have time to do their investigations. Potentially they were looking at other suspects. They've got to look at every piece of evidence and follow that down that path until it is no longer possible. And then they turn and take a different course. So I'm assuming that during this time, they might've had an eye towards her, but they were probably also ruling out anything else, which is good. We want a thorough investigation. What I don't want is law enforcement to feel pressure to make an immediate arrest because it's a shocking case. It's a town where everybody says, this doesn't happen in our town. There could be pressures on law enforcement to make a quick arrest. And that often does not bode well for, in the long run. They could find somebody that is to pin that case on that isn't necessarily a true suspect. So I like the fact that they're taking time and making sure that they've got all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted.
How likely is it, and hard to say at this point, but in your experience, that she would have known that she might be a suspect in these murders? Or from a law enforcement, from the standpoint of law enforcement, how do you kind of keep tabs on her, and she may be someone, and the evidence starts piling up to the point where they said it was a mountain of evidence they have against her, but at the same time, letting her continue to live her life to see if she makes any other alleged mistakes.
Sure, and that's not uncommon in the law enforcement arena. But once they have determined that that is a viable suspect, I'm quite sure that there was some surveillance. We've seen that repeatedly in cases, even with the Idaho cases and Brian Koberger, there was surveillance on him before any type of arrest was made. So I don't think that was uncommon.
And then just lastly, I just think, and we talked about this a bit at the beginning, 16, 17 years old, her entire life was her. We'll see how the case.
Is it one ad setting a new record for having to exit and come back due to one specific ad that makes this occur on every channel? Is it one specific ad? Because I've heard from a number of people that it happens, but I haven't actually asked what ad it is. So
case plays out. She's facing the potential of never seeing the outside of a prison ever again. In these cases where you see this type of violence, I mean, what are some of the driving factors that typically lead to these types of stories?
It's anybody's guess at this point, and I wouldn't want to advance any theories that appear to be victim blaming. In the past, I have seen cases like this where anger is directed at parents for, obviously nobody deserves to be murdered, but there can be some mitigating circumstances. Is there some sort of abuse going on? So not in this case in particular, but in past cases that I've worked, similarly, there has been abuse from, potentially like a stepfather or father figure, and then mom who is either aware of it and doesn't do something to remedy the situation or is perceived to not do
and
anything.
They keep showing the same thing. And I see something different every time. Like the first time I didn't see her little smile crease. And like, that's not I don't know. I didn't see that. So it comes down. That's not normal. You would wipe that away unless you're trying to get more sympathy. Like Carly Gregg was angry at her parents. Though I don't remember. Carly Gregg was angry at her mom. This is Georgia. This is Carroll County. It's southwest of Atlanta. It's almost, I would say it's like, it's closer to Alabama than actually Atlanta. It's probably like, I would say 45 minutes to an hour from Alabama. So yeah, one side of chin is also just fake. Yeah, it just, I don't know, even her smile, like when she's trying to talk, it just doesn't look, and nobody has that angle down here unless you're wanting to look bad. Like there's a reason my camera is in front of me and a little up so that you don't catch the double chin. Because nobody wants this angle right here. Nobody wants all this to be shown. So well, that's a video. That's not a picture. It's a TikTok. So it's, I don't know.
We've seen that. I don't know if that's going to come into play in this case. It can also be mental illness where there's some perceived wrong. They could have told her that she couldn't date a particular boy, and she could have been angry about that. We don't really know.
Yeah, it'll be very fascinating once the information starts to come out and you understand why law enforcement say they have this mountain of evidence against her. And then, of course, what the defense would be, how much she's admitted to. That is all. It all remains to be seen. Alina Burrows, it's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
All right. So there was kind of an overview of the whole case. So they go into her reaching out to TikTokers. So we're going to do this one. They keep using the same few, and I'm wondering if that is normal from them or if they just don't have any other pictures that make her look guilty AF.
Allegedly killing her mom and stepdad in Georgia in February. Her name is Sarah Grace Patrick, and she didn't just post on TikTok mourning the loss of her parents. She did a lot more.
Why would you ask me to cover a case where you are going to get arrested for taking your parents' lives?
It turns out she also reached out to several crime creators.
This is weird to me. This screams psychopath, serial killer wanting attention.
On TikTok, encouraging them to look into the case. One of those creators is going to join me to talk about what Sarah Grace Patrick told her and the chilling comments she left on her account that you just have to see. We're on The Case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Flash fan, yeah, you did. You sent me this video. You sent me this.
Before I get to this update involving the Sarah Grace Patrick case in Georgia, which is a huge story that we've been following, I also have a huge announcement to make for those of you who love to watch police body camera video. We know. All right, let's get to the story involving Sarah Grace Patrick. I've found 3 TikTok creators who say that Sarah Grace Patrick reached out to them for them to cover the murders of her mom and stepdad. Now, this is the same Sarah Grace Patrick who this week was arrested by Carroll County Sheriff's deputies and is now accused and charged in those murders. She is now 17 years old.
And for those of you just joining us, she is charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault, as what I would assume to be adult charges. The documents, the only ones we have are small, 2 pages, and in Peach Court to get the documents, they are $3. I'm not paying $1.50 a page. I don't make that kind of money.
And deputies say that she killed her mom and stepdad by shooting them as they lay in their beds in the middle of the night on February 20th. Now, Sarah Grace was also the one who called 911. And not only that, she says that her then 5-year-old sister found her parents, Kristen and James Brock, shot dead. Just think about that. Sarah Grace also claims that it was her little sister who then alerted her, and then she alerted the authorities. But now we know that was allegedly a lie. Sarah Grace posted this on TikTok saying the loss of her parents hit her when, quote, "I see my 5-year-old sister screaming, crying for her mommy and daddy." I can't say it enough. Sarah Grace is the one who is now charged and accused of being the person who killed that little girl's mom and dad. Sarah has also posted about needing help with her mental health and needing to call a hotline for that and being depressed. So we are working to learn more about her mental health history as that part of the case carries on. But before I get you caught up on the social.
All right. And this, I don't even think it's that bad. I think this reaching out when you are a TikToker accused of unaliving 2 people is worse than Lynette or Bubbles reaching out to cover, because is it bad optics? Yeah, but it's not nearly as bad as here. I'm on TikTok. I'm being charged with murder. Look into my case. No, I'd want a private investigator or I don't know. It's just weird. But if you're a TikToker and that's all you know, maybe reaching out to other TikTokers, especially true crime ones. There's been cases that have been solved by people on social media doing some sleuth work that mainstream media sucks. Reaching out to small creators who have, I don't know, it's just a weird, it's just a weird thing. I don't see it, but I've also never been, and hopefully never will be, charged with unaliving anybody. So there's that.
Social media part of the story, and that is a huge part of this story. I want you to know about the victims, James and Kristen Brock. And from what we have seen, members of their community love them. Their family loved them. They love their faith. They were avid churchgoers in Carrollton, Georgia, a small, quiet town where stuff like this rarely happens. James and Kristen, they were a blended family as well. They were parents to that young little girl and the mom and stepdad to Sarah Grace Patrick. In the days, weeks, and months after the murders, Sarah was very vocal on social media, specifically on TikTok. She posted these videos, montages within days of the murders.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Parents. This one says that she sleeps so she can see her mom, Kristen, who.
That's creepy. I don't judge how people grieve, but at the same time, posting it on social media is weird.
she allegedly killed. Other images show her crying with makeup running down her face, asking how someone could take her mom and stepdad away, people who she loved so much. She was a regular commenter also on posts and stories related to the murders that she allegedly committed, accepting plenty of thoughts and prayers. You can see on this one, she replies less than a month after she allegedly killed her parents with, quote, "I love you, thank you." On top of that, Sarah Grace spoke at her parents' funeral at their church. This is per WSB TV.
Yeah, we're going to get past that part because we've already...
There's nothing we can do to bring them back. We still have control.
To reach out to TikTokers who cover true crime,
A
encouraging
lot of
them
this...
to research, report.
Some of this is what we just saw in the other video. So if things are duplicated, I'm just going to skip it because we just watched the same thing.
And talk about the murders that she is now accused of committing as if
June 3rd and just said, search up Brock case.
This is the account called Allegedly Reportedly. It has more than 130,000 followers. Not only did Sarah Grace reach out to this account, she left some chilling comments. Look at this.
And she commented, thank you for spreading awareness. She also replied to this person who asked what was used in this crime, and she answered.
She answers with an emoji of a gun. These comments also are just within the last month. Now, it is unclear as far as the investigation is concerned, whether or not law enforcement has that murder weapon and whether it's been recovered, but that's not the only comment. Look at this one.
This person commented and said, from an investigative standpoint, it would seem that it was someone who knew them, hoping for answers and swift justice. Sarah Grace, the daughter and stepdaughter of these victims who has now been arrested, said most definitely was since they knew the house.
That was on June 9th. And allegedly, reportedly, wasn't the only account that Sarah Grace contacted. This is from the account Jade Talks Crime.
TikToker Sarah Grace Patrick, age 17, reached out to me to tell me that she wanted me to research the case.
She also apparently spoke with this creator on the phone as recently as last month.
So Sarah reached out to me on Sunday, and we spoke on the phone, and we spoke via text. And she asked me to speak on her behalf about the night of 2/20/25.
Here's what Sarah Grace allegedly told TikToker Kelly Brown.
Sarah has confirmed that she was awake the night of the incident and heard.
Okay, if you were awake, you would have heard the gunshots. Like, you would have heard the gunshots. You just, how do you, if you're from Georgia, girl, you've heard a gunshot before. You're from rural Georgia. You've heard a gunshot before. Like, you know a gunshot when you hear it. Well, she was just arrested like a week ago, so there's that.
Nothing out of the normal. Those are her words. Nothing out of the normal. But she did hear James's LVAD machine, which is his heart machine that kept his heart pumping. She did hear that alarm going off throughout the night. So those are the two things that she wanted me to share with you guys.
According to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, James had...
I'm sorry, I used to be LVAD certified. If you, an LVAD alarm is loud, but if you can hear the LVAD alarm, a gunshot is a lot louder than an LVAD. Like, and you can see his drive line right there. Like, now that, like, you can see his drive line. Like, you, oh my God. Like, you that now she's not, now I don't believe her for freaking, if what she told that TikToker is true, I don't believe her. Because, or if, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Even if a person that's never heard a gun knows when a gun is shot in that same house. Yeah. Yeah. This is just, now things aren't, what the, yeah, I'm not believing this girl for a second. Like you heard the LVAD alarm, but you didn't hear, and I'm sorry, but like, if you know an LVAD alarm, you'd want to go check on it, because that alarm doesn't go off unless you're either your drive line is pulled out, your battery is dead, which when you're in bed, you shouldn't be hooked up to a battery anyway. That alarm goes off when you're going from wall power to battery power. That alarm goes off. And that is one of the reasons that I hated working with LVAD patients, is I hated the loud noise. Maybe it's my military experience that I hated the loud noise. But whenever I was switching an LVAD patient from wall power to battery power, and I did LVAD showers with people, so I had to put them on battery power, I would be so paranoid when I'd hear that alarm. And there's 2 different kinds of LVADs that we used, but like, if you hear the LVAD alarm, even if I heard the LVAD alarm, you don't have to be a healthcare professional to go, okay, that's his LVAD alarm. Like, that should not be going off. I'm going to go check on him. That makes me even more, okay, I'm starting to not believe this chick.
Survived major heart surgery, and he may have been in need of a heart transplant, but he was a fighter. And
No.
a tragic part of this story.
Sorry, if you have an LVAD, you may have not been in need of a heart transplant. You need a heart transplant. That's why you have an LVAD, is your left ventricle does not work.
Is that his life was cut short this way. Not only did Sarah Grace post on TikTok about her parents like this one on Mother's Day, she also would post images as if she was continuing to live her life. It was just a week ago. She posted this from what appears to be a trip to the beach for the 4th of July. Deputies say even though Sarah Grace was 16 at the time she killed her mom and stepdad, she's now 17 years old. She is facing charges as an adult. She is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of assault. Another part of the story that we're watching is deputies say that more arrests are possible in this case. Joining us now to talk more about this case is one of the creators on TikTok who Sarah Grace Patrick, it appears, reached out to cover the case she's now accused of, charged with the murder of her mom and stepdad, the creator behind allegedly, reportedly. I know in the TikTok true crime world, when it comes to first names and things like that, keeping information is very important. So we'll honor that. But thank you for joining me. In leading into this interview, we talked a little bit about some of the posts that you had and the comments that Sarah Grace left on your content. I'll just start right out of the gate. I mean, what was your reaction when you saw that she was actually charged with the murders?
Just absolute shock. Trying to sort through any time a teenager is arrested and charged with taking their parents' lives, that is shocking. But to double it, this is a teenager who asked me to cover this case, who emailed me her version of events of what happened that night, who replied to comments in ways that are now very chilling to look back on, but I didn't realize it. So the day the arrest happened, I was in a state of shock for hours. Yeah, shock.
Let's go back to when she first reached out to you. When was that?
That was on June 3rd. So that was the first time I had even heard of the James and Kristen Brock case. Her first message only said, look into the Brock case. And the only Brock I had readily available in my brain was Brock Turner. So I asked if that's what she meant, and it was not. She said, my parents, James and Kristen Brock. And I had a post up 2 days later for her, and she thanked me for it, started replying to comments. Yeah.
And there was a couple comments that I know you posted in the last 24 hours that, chilling is kind of a word. It can be cliche in these moments, but I mean, the one with the emoji.
Yes.
Walk us through that post. And now.
All right, guys, just a reminder, I have somebody coming to look at my internet between around 3 o'clock. So if they're a little early, I'm going to have to end the stream. I did try to put it in a comment, but YouTube said it rejected my comment. I said, I have someone looking at my internet at between 3 and 4. So if they get here, I'm going to have to end the stream. YouTube rejected my comment saying that it's spam.
In hindsight, looking at
I'm
it,
spamming my own chat.
That is the most chilling. And like you said, that feels like a cliche word. I don't know an appropriate word outside of chilling, disturbing, haunting. Someone asked what the mode of this crime was, what weapon was used. Sarah Grace Patrick responded with an emoji of a gun. In the moment, when she first left that on June 6th or 7th, I knew that, of course, she knew what was used. But now with this charge, that is very strange to look back on.
And then the other one that may, to even top that in some ways, is the question of whether or not whoever did it at the time when she's posting about this, whether they knew James and Kristen Brock and what she said on your account. What to see it now with her saying like, well, it must have been, I'm paraphrasing, must have been someone that knew them.
Yes.
Even that is, you just are realizing you're looking at the words of someone who's accused of murder is just, it's haunting.
Yes, and she went further to say not only was it someone that knew the victims, she said it was someone that knew the house. Right? And I keep saying how disturbing all of these were. I have provided them to law enforcement. As soon as I heard about this arrest, I knew that needs to be my first call. It felt like a very strange call to make, to say, oh, I do TikTok. You may want this stuff, but I'm glad that I did.
When she emailed you her version of events, what stood out to you? What was the narrative that she was telling about what happened?
So I won't be too detailed on that, and I apologize. I just want to make sure everything I've provided to the police, I don't speak too detailed about, but I will say, when I received that, I read it to my husband, me still thinking, this is a teenager that is heartbroken. She wants coverage. I read it to my husband and he said, she did it. And I said, what do you mean? How could you say that? That is, you're so heartless. How could you say that? So when the arrest was made, I had to tell him for the millionth time in our marriage, you're right, honey. You were spot on. Looking back, there are things that I guess should have been red flags for me, the way she was describing it, some of the descriptive words that she used. But again, in the moment, I just couldn't help but view her as the daughter of these victims and someone who was asking for coverage. So why would I believe she did it? Why would someone who did this want us to talk about it? But look, like I said, looking back at that email, those comments, even her original messages where she hinted at, hey, you should really do this video because it will get a lot of views. I should have.
It's creepy. It's creepy. Did they release the Delphi transcripts? Yeah, and also there's a hearing going on right now for what's his name, Sean Stearns, for the Madeline Soto case. He's pleading guilty, I believe. Just a Stephen Stearns plea hearing. So there's a lot going on today. Yeah, Stephen Stearns. Thank you. So I'm going to cut this video short. I will put the link in the description of the video if you want to go and watch the full thing. But we are going to move on to her father or her grandfather. So we're going to do this one. Oh my goodness. Angel bug. Her pad died. Oh, no, it's right here. It's right there. Help? You want my help? Okay. So we are going to get into, if you're streaming, what's with the internet? My internet sucks. I get a poor signal sometimes. It drops out. I think it's either interference in my neighborhood somewhere because they were out here looking at it a couple weeks ago, or it is something with my equipment. So there's somebody coming out to look to see. And if it's a problem in my neighborhood and they can't fix it, I'm getting a new internet service provider because I'm getting the low internet signal now. And it's like, yes, I did. And I appreciate them. I have to, most of them are in a closet. I got them right. I got it right here. Let me get this one started, but I want to make sure that we don't, we skip over what we had already been covering.
Who says there is more to this story. Do you believe she's the one who did this?
No.
Why he believes Sarah Grace Patrick is innocent and what he says she told him from jail. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. His family is going through right now. Not only is he Sarah Grace Patrick's grandfather, but he is the dad of Kristen Brock and the father-in-law of James Brock, the two people who were shot and killed in February in their home in Carrollton, Georgia, as they slept, according to law enforcement. Before I get to the interview that I just had with Dennis, his first since Sarah Grace was arrested this week by the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, I did just speak with their spokesperson today about this case, and here's the information that I have. She wouldn't comment on whether the gun that was used to kill the Brocks has been found, and she wouldn't comment on whether Sarah has had any documented mental health history. She also wouldn't go into detail on what she called a mountain of evidence that investigators in Carroll County, Georgia have in their case.
So
assault.
basically she didn't give them anything. So I'm going to skip that part because I will drop the link for this video as well in the description. I'm not hardwired, but it's not just a problem with my computer. It's a problem with the internet just in general. It's not the connectivity to my computer. It's Mr. Squid's computer. We have the internet drop out at least twice a day where our little routers turn red and they just don't work, and we have to reset them, and it's getting freaking annoying. So it's yeah, something's not kosher.
Yet to enter a plea. Her grandfather says she's innocent. He also says that he spoke to Sarah Grace Patrick, his granddaughter, since her arrest, and she says that she's innocent. Here's our interview. Joining us now is Sarah Patrick's grandfather and Kristen Brock's dad, Dennis Nolan. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I can't imagine what you and your family are going through. First question, what was your reaction to Sarah's arrest this week?
Well, I'm very surprised. I mean, I've been
Oh,
talking to the
that's a
detectives
Georgia home if I've ever seen it.
It happened. Had no indication that they were looking at Sarah as a suspect, no less any evidence that said she did it. So I was shocked.
Do you believe she's the one who did this?
No. I think, to sum it up, really, the detectives, the best they could tell me was the evidence says that she's the only one who could possibly have done it. That says to me that there's no real evidence that says she did do it.
We hear that there's a mountain of evidence, but they haven't really said, but their term was mountain of evidence. What did they tell you beyond just she's the only one who possibly could have done it? What did they share with you about why they believe she's the one who is responsible for this?
Well, they never did share anything that said she was responsible, other than the fact that she's the only one, the evidence says she's the only one who could possibly have done it. Of course, they haven't revealed any of the evidence because it's an ongoing investigation, and I understand that. But I know they were pressured to make an arrest, and I think this might have been premature. I don't think they needed to wait till the investigation was over. Sarah certainly wasn't going anywhere, but she's taking it very hard. She swears by her innocence.
Have you spoken with her since her arrest?
Yes, she called me from the jail the day after, of course, pleading for me to help her get out. And she was just very upset and saying, please help me. And there's not much I can do at this point. I don't know what else to say. I mean, she's always been a good kid. I've always liked Sarah. She was always very friendly, and she never really asked for anything. She was a very...
Okay, I know he's probably a boomer, and boomers, don't get mad at me. Boomers in the chat, I love you guys. But here's another where he's not looking at the camera. And I'm not sure if that is him evading eye contact or any sort of like actually looking at the camera. If he's just a boomer, so he just isn't sure where to look, or if he's uncomfortable and this is his first, like, he knows that this is going to be seen by a lot of eyes, so he doesn't exactly know what to do. But I don't know, the lack of eye contact makes me like, and I know that he probably can't see who's on the other side of the camera, generally speaking, but like looking at the camera, at least in the general direction, like I might be looking above the camera, but he's like up here and over here. And it's like there's somebody else in the room that he's looking at trying to convince him of what he's saying. He just doesn't sound confident in what he's saying. And I don't know how I feel about that.
To me, she was just an ideal child. She just graduated from high school. She was very proud of that. She was working 2 jobs. She was doing very well. And I don't understand what could have ever, if she did do this, what triggered it.
If you, during that phone call, asked her if she had done it, what did she say?
I didn't ask her because it was just assumed she didn't do it. I wasn't going to accuse her.
I would have asked her.
I just advised her to cooperate with the authorities, and we, wait and see, and hopefully get her through this.
And she maintained her innocence on that phone call. She said she's not the person.
She said, I didn't do it. She said, why are they doing this to me?
And I'm sorry to go back to February 20th, because I know you lost your daughter and your son-in-law. But what did Sarah tell you about that night in conversations that you had?
Just that Jaylee, her daughter, went in to wake them up. She came back and Jaylee said she couldn't wake them up, and Sarah went in and found them, deceased. And she called 911, and that's all she said. She's never gone beyond that.
I know this is kind of a difficult question, but law enforcement said that they found it suspicious that Sarah would not have heard gunshots in that home. And that was something that in the beginning started, I guess, it was a red flag for them. And that a 5-year-old would go in and potentially hear gunshots. And I know James had a heart machine, but then Sarah would not. And that they found suspicious. What do you say to that?
Well, I don't know. The house was very unusual, and her bedroom wasn't next to theirs, but Sarah claimed that the TVs were on. I know they were on in both rooms, and I don't know. It did seem unusual to me that she didn't hear the gunshots, but at 1:30 in the morning, she was asleep. I know I'm such a solid sleeper. That it possibly could have happened to me and not heard it.
What was her relationship with James and Kristen?
Okay, here's my thought process though. If she's a solid sleeper and she didn't hear the gunshots, a 5-year-old, I'm sorry, a 5-year-old would have woken up not knowing what the hell that was and either been screaming or and if it was an intruder who just was out to kill and was out just to unalive them, why just them and why leave witnesses? Just a thought. I don't know.
It was good. It was very good. She was here Thanksgiving with them, and we had a good time. Everybody was happy, and it was good conversation. There was no trouble. And my conversations with Kristen, right up to that night, she never mentioned anything about problems with Sarah, which she would have done. Kristen and I were very close. She was the daddy's girl.
Did Sarah know how to fire a gun?
I'm sure she did. Yeah.
Yeah, a 16-year-old in Georgia. Yeah. You know how to shoot. Like, I mean, come on.
And this is Georgia. I mean, many people grow up handling firearms. Did she grow up with guns? Did James were there guns in the house?
There were times they were here. I live out in the county, and we've taken, some of my guns and fired them off my deck and so forth. And I believe Sarah protected some of that at times. Her brothers were more interested in it. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say she grew up with guns. No.
At the funeral, and the spokesperson for the Carroll County Sheriff said that this was something that stood out to her, that in Sarah's speech at the funeral, she said sorry at the end of her speech. And I guess investigators, that was another red flag for them. What do you make of that being a red flag to the people now accusing her of murder?
I'm sorry. She wrote that speech, and I can't speak for her for that. It didn't even occur. That never occurred to me. I'm sure she was sorry it all happened. I am sorry it happened. Using the word sorry, I don't think it's any admission of guilt. I think that's a little exaggerated.
When you think about that night and I'm sure it's run through your head a million times over the past roughly 6 months, but do you have any idea in your mind what happened that night, or whoever did this, what happened? I have theories. I'm not gonna do anything now. I've told the detectives about what I feel and what I felt at the time. And I know they're investigating that. I don't want to say anything at the time because I hope that and I know their investigation is still going on, and I hope it all comes out. I think there will be an additional arrest or two.
We're gonna get it then.
For James and Kristen, they seem to be, they were churchgoers, seem to be very beloved by members of the community. Is there anyone who might have had a problem with them?
Not that I know of. They lived in Carrollton. I was up there in Raleigh, and we didn't see each other that often, but I didn't know of any problems. I know they were very happy. They were just baptized again, and they loved that church, and they were very active in it at the time.
Did Sarah have any challenges in terms of mental health issues or anything like that you were aware of?
No, not at all. not at all.
And
Yes,
law enforcement
psychopath.
said that she had moved around a bit. Who else was she? How long was she living with the Brocks?
You know, that statement, I must have been in another world, because that's not true. She was living with the Brocks in that house for as long as as long as they lived there. You know, she would go see her father once in a while and maybe spend a weekend with him. But no, she was living in that house, as far as I know, from the moment they purchased it.
There's a lot that's been made about her social media, her TikToks, and I know it's not easy to see any of this on the news media, but a lot of people are saying she's accused of this murder, but here she was presenting as if she was someone looking for sympathy, or even in some cases reaching out to people for views, to have creators and TikTok people, you know, cover this case. What do you make of those accusations against her?
Well, first of all, I haven't seen. I don't use TikTok. I don't know how to use TikTok.
That I believe.
I've heard that, but Sarah was upset, and she was, you know, she was a 17-year-old.
No, Flash fan, her father is the one that drove her to he went with her to the police department or the sheriff's department. She turned herself in because she knew that there was a warrant out for her arrest. He didn't turn her in. He went with her, from the sounds of it. And law and crime has always leaned towards writing things in a way that sound really bad for the defendant. So when they wrote, like, went with her, he didn't. Excuse you, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah.
Young girl who was trying to be glamorous. She was trying to get her life together. I don't know about anything. I haven't seen it.
What does he mean by get her life together? She's 17. Like, what life does she have to get together? Like, I don't know. He makes it sound like she was broken and she has to get shit together. Something's just weird. Something's just weird. This guy sounds like he has little to very little contact with his family. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm sorry, but no offense to the grandfather, but how much do we really know teenagers?
Anything that says that to me, that she was trying to do anything other than just be a 17-year-old girl. They all get on TikTok or whatever media, and they show off. I mean, that's not unusual.
Maybe I'm just a goody two shoes.
Was there anything else that law enforcement said during that news conference that you want to push back on? Obviously, beyond the notion that they believe that she is the person who killed the Brocks.
Well, the notion that she was moving around, that she was, they keep saying a mountain of evidence. Well, if they present the evidence, maybe I could have, think differently. But until I see the evidence, I mean, she's innocent until proven guilty, unless things have changed in the law. But they've yet to show me that she's been proven guilty.
And then just a couple more questions for you, if it's okay. For people who have only seen the outside of the home when it was a crime scene, and I know you talked about an interesting makeup of it, but take us inside if you can and just describe what that home was like, where unfortunately this crime took place, and then where everyone else was inside the house.
Well, the house was originally a very small home that had 2 or 3 additions put on it in the back, and it was very unusual the way the bedrooms were laid out. And Kristen and James' bedroom was, back on the far right of the house, but Sarah's bedroom was on the far left, and there was, if I remember correctly, there was at least one bedroom and some basic, I don't know what kind of room, just a general room in between. So it wasn't like a room was right next to their bedroom. It was sort of down the hall.
Does Sarah have a lawyer?
Not at this time, no.
And when do you expect to speak with her again?
I'm waiting for I'm sure she's
9 days ago.
Now, but I haven't
2 lawyers now.
And waiting for arrange the bond hearing. If there is one, I think there has to be one. I'm sure she'll probably call us at any time.
Is there anything that I missed that you want to make sure people know?
Not really. I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, Sarah, to me, again, I don't think there's no evidence that I'm aware of that says she did it. And for the police to just say that she's the only one who could possibly do it, that to me is circumstantial and doesn't warrant her arrest. I think they need to finish the investigation, and hopefully other factors will come up, and she'll be cleared of this.
Dennis Nolan, again, I'm so sorry. We all are for everything your family's been through. Thank you for taking the time to be with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good day.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law.
All right, guys. I have absolutely no idea what to make of this. I don't know. I'm torn. I would like to see the mountain of evidence that they have. I just don't. Barbara did send me the documents. With that being said, I'm going to. I do have the actual. And thank you, Barbara, because I have them from the government websites, but at the same time, like, it's one of those things of like you only let me look at this website. So the arrest warrant. I'm going to see if there's anything in here that we don't already know. Yeah, I don't think her grandfather helped her one bit. I don't either. State warrant. It doesn't really say what it is, and I'm not going to show it because it has people's signatures and or the names and addresses and stuff, and I haven't taken the time to redact it, but it's interesting stuff. You can't prove she's guilty, so even if she is, unless you prove it, oh well, his attitude. Yeah, the fact that he never asked her if she actually did it or not is hinky to me. I don't know. Like I don't know. Yeah, any of y'all find that weird that he never actually asked her if she did it? Because that would be the first thing that I would ask. Did you do it? Whether she can answer or not, because she's in jail and all those conversations are going to be recorded, so you probably don't want to answer that. But he never asked, or if he did ask, he's not saying. It's so weird. If he doesn't, if he didn't ask, the court never redacts that stuff. Because technically it's public. It's just YouTube that doesn't like it. So technically your address is public information. So it's just it's just YouTube that doesn't like that stuff being shared. On that note, guys, though, I have to get going. I am going to go try to finish getting rid of this headache. I will keep an eye on this case. Just wanted to give you guys an inside, an intro to it. Ma'am, stop hitting buttons. If the expert is listening, I have competition for you in the button pushing department. Somebody, she's shorter than you, though. A lawyer might have advised him not to ask. Yeah, he never know if he spoke to his lawyer. But at the same time, if you... This is where I have an issue. This is where I have an issue. And Paul, thank you for being a member for 5 months, almost half a year, feels like a few weeks. it does kind of feel like a few weeks. Can't believe it's been 5 months. And I will be redirecting over to Spawn. He was lurking for a while because I was getting some DMs, but he didn't want to chat. So yes, please hit the like button and share this, because I don't know anybody else. I hadn't heard of this case before Flash Fan sent it to me. So this is one of those, but we have 39 likes and only 25 people watching. So like, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. Yeah, his child was killed, and maybe by his granddaughter, and it seems like he yep, Flash Fan does the work. I just tell everybody his work. I just take credit for his work. Flash Fan, you know I love you. Oh my goodness. You want to tell everybody how your day's going? Are you having a good day? That is you. All right, guys. I'm going to set us up to redirect over to Spawn Trooper. You want to go see Uncle Spawn? Yes. Yeah, okay. All right, and I have to go fold laundry. So we are going to, so you hit this button. Customization. Redirect. Oh, and Jeffrey, thanks for the $1.99 super sticker and making this. Well, you and Unghung here are holding it down in the super chat department today. I probably not, but I'm not really sure yet. I have to look more at it, but I think the way it was handled by the pilots was a bad idea. But that kind of thing it happens a lot more than you would think. The thing about it is when you have trained pilots, trained ATC staff, and you have equipment that works, you see it, you notice it, and you take appropriate action. There's fly-arounds that happen all the time. It's just sometimes I heard that the pilot the pilot apologized to his crew or to the passengers, and it's like it. But the thing, Barbara, and it's like the thing about it is, if you know about it, well, there's a good chance about 75% of anybody who's ever been on an airplane has experienced this. However, the ATC and the pilots handle it in a way that the passengers never know. However, the way it was handled by the pilot got a little hinky, and they're making everything, this right here. We also have the media making it look like the current administration look bad, so they're all making it news. Yeah. It's one of those things that I commented on. My mom sent it to me, and she sent me the NBC Facebook page, and I went to the Facebook page, and I commented, and I was like, people were like, Trump derangement syndrome was on a roll. And I'm like, one, this happens all the time. It's just when you have ATC trained personnel and trained pilots, you don't ever know that you were waved off or you flew around. It happened all the time. Secondly, the people were like, well, thought Trump was going to fix ATC. Tell me you don't actually pay attention to anything without telling me, because we read, and I was like, I read the whole plan on my YouTube channel. So tell me that y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about. Keys? What are those keys to? Mommy's filing cabinet. Uh-oh. Yeah, please don't lose them. Okay. But so there's that. But we are set up all ready to go. He will be streaming in 13 minutes. I probably will be lurking, kind of hanging out for a little bit, but I have laundry to fold. So do you want to say bye? Say bye. You want to go? Bye-bye. You want to wave? Yes. Yes? Bye-bye. I need to get that on video because that's the cutest dang thing I've ever seen. I love you. Bye, guys. I will see you on the next one. By the way, there was no new documents in the Monday updates for the What the Hales federal cases. So Wednesday will be our next thing with that. Tomorrow,
Yes.
tomorrow we'll do something tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what yet, but we'll figure something out because I have a lot to talk about. I'm just not sure what I want to talk about. Squab! All right, guys, you have a great day, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.